Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Austin Perry Show. I'm your host, Austin Perry, and today is Thursday, April 29th, 2021, and this is episode 23 of the Austin Perry Show. And today we have a very special guest, the very distinguished, the resident alien expert, Carlos Campbell. Thank you so much for being here. Carlos, please introduce yourself to the public.
Thank you. I'm Carlos Campbell, and I'm interested in aliens, alien topics, and anything out there extraordinary.
Okay, so we have a very good show for you tonight, folks. Like Carlos said, we're going to talk about extraterrestrials. We're going to talk about aliens. Carlos has researched these topics very extensively. He has a lot of knowledge on this, and we have a lot of really good videos that we're going to present to you tonight. Via the monitor that we have in the background. And this is an upgrade and an addition to the Austin Perry Show. We now have video screens in the Austin Perry Show connected to the laptop that we have down here. And we're going to be showing you videos on the Austin Perry Show now. Not just news articles, folks. Not just document cam shots. We now have videos in the Austin Perry Show. And without further ado, let's go ahead and watch the first video, and then I want to get Carlos's take and analysis on this first video. And here we go. Let's go ahead and play the first video here.
Let's put this up there on the screen. Has confirmed a leaked video of an unidentified aerial phenomenon that they say is real. Now, this is a 2019 video. Let's put this up there on the screen. This video shows 3 triangle-shaped UFOs, which were filmed from the deck of a U.S. Navy craft, which was taken with cell phone video and was reported in 2019. And so what the Defense Department there has said in a statement to multiple news organizations said that these photos were real, that they were taken by Navy personnel. Quote, "As we have said before, to maintain operational security and to avoid disclosing information that may be useful to potential adversaries, DoD does not discuss publicly the details of either the observations or the examinations of reported incursions into our training ranges or designated airspace, including those incursions initially designated as UAP being unidentified aerial phenomena." So, Ryan, just
UAP.
the latest things that we've seen in terms of the UFO sighting, but this one was particularly...
Carlos, that is very interesting, very thought-provoking. You saw it there. That was a pyramid-shaped UFO. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, there's a few red flags that I see. So the Department of Defense and the Pentagon is confirming these videos are UFOs or UAPs. So these are the same people that don't really, they don't tell the public that this is real or even flirt with the idea that any of this is real. So this is one of the red flags is the Pentagon, of all the people, is now saying, oh, this is interesting, look at this, it's aliens, and it's a history of decades of the U.S. government silencing people or telling people they're crazy for speaking about UFOs and aliens. So with their defense is UFOs is unidentified, so it could be anything. So it isn't just aliens. So it could be anything. So with triangle-shaped UFOs, and I want the viewers to remember this, I say about 90% of triangle-shaped UFOs are man-made or made by different world governments, whether it's China, Russia, India, or etc., or America. And this raises alarms because if this released to the public that, let's say, the UFOs, the triangle-shaped ones, are Russian or whatever, then it just gives more war propaganda and stuff. So there's technology out there that is highly advanced that humans can make items like this. So with this video, the first red flag is the Pentagon is releasing this. So let's see what happens from then. So to keep the integrity of the show, we're gonna say it's unidentified. We're not gonna say it's aliens, but pay attention to who's releasing the information and look at the history, look at the decades of history of people being silenced or killed or even called crazy for mentioning UFOs and aliens and other extraterrestrial phenomena. Thank you.
So you're saying that this pyramid triangle-shaped UFO is potentially actually an alien replication vehicle based on alien technology, but recreated by a government. And so there are multiple governments who have designed these triangle-shaped crafts. Is that correct?
Yes, in all governments.
So,
not just limited to one or two, but all first world countries.
So they're all developing experimental aircrafts, and especially triangle-shaped is an indication that it is not an UFO from space, but potentially something made from the government.
Yes,
that's replicating.
Could. Let's be careful with our words. They could.
They could.
Yeah.
They might. They probably have. They could. Who knows if they actually have? And so that's very interesting, very thought-provoking. Thank you for your analysis on that triangle-shaped, unidentified aerial phenomena that you just saw in the previous video. Now let's move on, folks, to the next video that we have here on the Austin Perry Show, episode 23. And this is actually an article that Carlos Campbell has sent over to me that we're going to play on the large screen monitor here now. So let's go ahead and play this video, and then I'm going to get Carlos Campbell's analysis on this video. Oh, wow. Are you likely or unlikely to get a coronavirus vaccine? Wow. 43% likely, 22% unlikely. And here we have more graphs discussing the likelihood of potentially getting vaccines among the American population. Very interesting, very thought-provoking here.
So, I personally think that this is the most important question that we're tracking in the Hill-Harris-X daily poll. And it shows certain important findings about the vaccination process so far and where it needs to focus. If you look at overall vaccination rates, and we had an option in our question of are you likely or unlikely to get a coronavirus vaccine when one becomes available to you, one of the options is I've already been vaccinated. 34% of voters said that they'd already been vaccinated, which largely tracks with reported figures of the 20% or so who have received both doses of the vaccine and another 15 to 20% that have received one dose of the vaccine. Amongst the percentage of the population, 66%, that has not already been vaccinated, by a margin of 2 to 1 or 43 to 22%,
43%.
Voters are saying that they are willing and likely to be vaccinated. However, the story becomes a lot more interesting when you break down the data by race. There you see that the early vaccination efforts have reached whites at a significantly higher rate that they've reached blacks, African Americans, or Hispanics, or even other minorities within the country. So the white vaccination rate, as reported in our data, is at 40%. The black African American rate is at 22%. The Hispanic Latino rate is at 17%.
Wow.
So there's a significant gap there. And when you look at the likelihood of the various groups to take the vaccine amongst those who are not yet vaccinated, there's a better picture that emerges in the sense that majorities of both blacks and Hispanics and other demographics are likely to take the vaccine. That number is 54% for blacks, African Americans, 64% for Hispanic Latinos, and 51% for others. However, the percentage of those who are not willing to take the vaccine is still fairly high and fairly worrying. And
So, very interesting, folks. That video was talking about the percentage of people who are likely or unlikely to take the vaccine. Carlos Campbell, what are your thoughts on this video?
I like to say first for the viewers, this statistic only comes from the voters, so this isn't completely accurate. It's accurate for voters, but not accurate for the whole population. So they say the people that don't want to get the vodka shot is very low, but according to herd immunity, it has to have at least 70 to 75% take it. So I think it's more people that don't want to take the vodka shot, but we'll see as time progresses because statistics change every day. But with this monthly, they'll keep it updated. And I find it funny that since we're talking about voters, we have the Black and Hispanic voters are more likely than white voters, and I don't know the exact statistics, but Black and Hispanic voters are known for being Democrats. So we have the white voters, which are stereotyped as Republicans, are very low that took the vodka shot. I won't say that. But let's see how it goes. Since this is a very sensitive topic, this is one of the things that we need to really look at is who's taking it and who's not taking it, and how long will it take for herd immunity. So the key thing is herd immunity, which means nobody has to take it anymore. So let's take our time and look through, because it's a very sensitive topic.
And let's not forget that there has been a large percentage of the American population who has never been tested because they don't want to be tested because it's invasive, and they potentially could have been asymptomatic carriers of the sickness. And so therefore, potentially a larger number of immunity within the herd could have happened already, potentially compared to what the scientific data shows for today's numbers. And so here you have it. We have black voters 54% likely, 25% and 22%. And then we have Hispanic and white voters. You can see the bar graphs there, comparatively speaking. Very interesting. And so there you have it, folks. And let's go ahead and move on to the next video here that I want to get Carlos Campbell's analysis of.
Yeah.
And let's exit here and move on to the next video that we have. All right. And let's go ahead and make this full screen here. And let's watch this video, folks.
Has this dramatic underperformance led Bill Gates to rethink his approach? Because let's not kid ourselves, by dint of his money and his connection, he has essentially appointed himself the unofficial world czar of public health. The answer of whether he's rethought it is, of course, not a chance. In an interview on Sky News, Bill Gates was asked whether it would be helpful to lift vaccine patent protections in order to increase access. Here is his answer.
There's been some speculation that the changing intellectual property rules and allowing these vaccines, as you say, the recipe for these vaccines to be shared would be helpful. And do you think that would be helpful?
No.
Why not?
Well, there's only so many vaccine factories in the world, and people are very serious about.
I just want to notice real quick, Bill Gates here wearing a pink shirt, trying to appear like a likable person.
Safety of vaccines. And so moving something that had never been done, moving a vaccine from, say, a J&J factory into a factory in India, that it's novel. It's only because of our grants and our expertise that can happen at all. The thing that's holding things back in this case is not intellectual property. There's not like some idle vaccine factory with regulatory approval that makes magically safe vaccines. You've got to do the trials on these things, and every manufacturing process has to be looked at in a very careful way. There's all sorts of issues around intellectual property having to do with medicines, but not in terms of how quickly we've been able to ramp up the volume here. I remember.
Wow. Carlos, That is very interesting. Bill Gates claiming that they have ramped up production of a medicine that is being administered to people, and it is neither confirmed whether or not it is causing effects, whether they be good effects or bad effects. What are your thoughts on this from watching Bill Gates talk about this?
Since recently Joe Rogan has been demonized for speaking about his opinions about the vodka shots. So my question to the viewers is, well, my statement to the viewers is, Bill Gates is not a doctor. Why are we listening to Bill Gates? Why is Bill Gates relevant? He has money and resources. So this isn't about intellect or degrees or science. It's about money. So if Joe Rogan is a moron and he's not a doctor or a scientist, well, let's keep that same energy for Bill Gates, because there's plenty of wealthy people, not to his level of wealth, but there's plenty of wealthy people that are doctors and scientists. So let's stick to the science community and let the science do science and let the doctors do doctors. But when they keep posting up about Bill Gates and value his opinions, then it's a huge contradiction to people that speak out against the doctors and scientists practice, because there's more than one, there's more than 10, there's more than 1,000 doctors and scientists. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Carlos. And also with Bill Gates, it's just a little bit disingenuous because, like you said, he's not a doctor. He doesn't have a medical degree. He has a bachelor's, I believe, in finance. And so Bill Gates, who started his big Microsoft company back in the day, which all of the computers were infected with viruses, just now so happens to be that he is the global health czar, appointed by who, I don't know. New World Order, Illuminati, maybe, maybe not. Bill Gates, though, kind of seems like a sketchy character, and his wife kind of looks like a man. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. But anyways, that's neither here nor there, so let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And I'm going to go to the next video now, folks, that we're going to watch here on the big screen monitor, and then I'm going to get Carlos Campbell's opinion on this next video. So let's go ahead and get out of this one and go to the next one here. And we have another very thought-provoking video for you. Let's go ahead and roll this one.
If you have a huge platform and millions of fans, what kind of responsibility do you have to give people reliable and factual information about the pandemic? That's the question we are asking after Joe Rogan gave his millions of listeners some controversial and, frankly, incorrect advice on his Spotify podcast. Take a listen.
And people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, and like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
So what does science have to say about young, healthy people getting vaccinated? Here's how Dr. Fauci responded to Rogan's comments on the Today Show.
Well, that's incorrect, Savannah, and the reason why is that you're talking about yourself in a vacuum, Dan. But you can get infected and will get infected if you put yourself at risk. It is likely that you, even if you have no symptoms, that you may inadvertently and innocently then infect someone else. So if you want to only worry about yourself and not society, then that's okay. But if you're saying to yourself, even if I get infected, I could do damage to somebody else, even if I have no symptoms at all. And that's the reason why you've got to be careful and get vaccinated.
Now, we are already getting a lot of comments from our DBL Nation. Jeff, what did you make about Joe Rogan's comment?
So there you have it.
Wow.
That was the report from the Daily Blast Live, reporting on Joe Rogan making controversial comments on the medicine that is being administered by the government. And then you have Fauci's response to that. Very interesting, very thought-provoking. These are the hard-hitting topics, folks. These are not fluff pieces that we're covering here on the Austin Perry Show. You just saw it on the TV monitor. I want to get Carlos Campbell's opinion now on this video. What do you think about that, Carlos?
Wow, there's so many things I think about this because I have to figure out a way to say this without being specific, but like really saying what I feel. Okay, so Dr. Fauci, he's a doctor.
Medical doctor.
His job is to help everybody, right? So his whole point about this this guano spreading around everywhere is he wants to save everybody. So when he's calling out Joe Rogan, he's saying he's being selfish because he's only thinking about himself and, let's say, the healthy people. All right, so let's go to this, stats. So less than 1% of people infected by the guano die from it. Okay.
Very small percentage of people.
They say that is still a lot of people. Number-wise, it's a lot of people, but percentage-wise, it's considered rare. And the Johnson & Johnson vodka shot, the what was it? The blood clots. That was less than 1% also. And then Johnson & Johnson came out and said that is rare. So my question to Dr. Fauci, respectfully, is helping everybody is helping the rare amount of people.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave it as that since he's a doctor and I have to respect his experience and degree. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Is the 1% represents everybody or is it rare? So I'm gonna keep it simple like that.
And let's not forget, Dr. Fauci was actually one of the main doctors at the NIAID during the AIDS pandemic in the late 80s and early 90s, who was one of the main doctors making television appearances talking about the AIDS. And so he has a very extensive history talking about to the American public mass sickness that is affecting the American public. He's one of the most notable government doctors, one of the most renowned government doctors, and if you did not know, Anthony Fauci actually is the highest paid government official in existence in the United States of America's government. Anthony Fauci makes the most money, and let's not forget, when he did his first pitch at a professional baseball game, it was worse than 50 Cent's first pitch.
And let me add this. The question I want to also ask is, does the science community care about the 1% of people? Does the politicians care about the 1% of people? Does the doctors, medical industry care about the 1% of people? So ask that to yourself before you jump to conclusions. So it's okay to care about the 1% of people, but are your actions throughout the years helping out the 1% of people? Yep,
and at what cost is it going to affect everybody for trying to tend to a very small percentage? I like your point on that. And so thank you for that analysis, Carlos. Very interesting. I encourage everyone to look into these topics for yourself. Don't take our word for it. I encourage everyone to do your own research. And so let's go ahead and move on now to the next topic and the next video that I have to show everybody here on the large screen. And we have a mechanized robotic suit of armor that has been developed by a Korean company. I want to play this video and then I'm going to get the resident alien expert, as I've so dubbed him, Carlos Campbell's opinion on this video. So let's go ahead and play this now.
Like I'm in one of these crazy Star Wars walkers. This must be shaking the ground. 1.5 tons of machinery, just it kind of sways side to side as you go. I need to get one of these. And the noise it makes. I can't help but feel like maybe down the track in the future sometime, this is a noise that's going to strike fear into the hearts of many. It strangely stable, but it certainly feels heavy. That's one thing. I can feel it kind of slamming its feet into the ground. But it doesn't feel like it's wobbly backwards or forwards. I am very glad we're tethered though, because if we were to trip over in this and go down face first, 1.5 tons, that's gonna hurt. I wonder if one of these days, down the track, my grandkids are gonna look back at me and say, why didn't you stop them, Granddad? You were there in the beginning. Why didn't you make them stop? All right, so I've been given the go-ahead to try the hands. Now, if you've ever seen any of these, let's say, mech warrior or manned robot suit movies, you'll know that a lot of times it comes with arm controllers, which is exactly what this has, which is blowing my mind. So it's arm controllers. You might be able to see down here. I've got to slide my arms into, and they've both got little joystick hands. So I'm just going to raise. No way. I have finger controls and a thumb controller. Okay, I'm going to make a fist. So I'm going to pull all my fingers in. Oh, those hands, they are like Optimus Prime hands. Yeah, okay. Oh my.
Look how fast
It's
those
so
servos
responsive.
move.
I just can't even begin to describe how awesome this is. This is not something that I thought I would ever get to do in my lifetime. And it's not missing a beat. It's just doing everything. I can't stop watching my own hands. They're saying that very soon they're going to do an absolute first, which is a robot picking up a human. The control that I've got, this is going to be transformative. If we can get it to a level, obviously there's still a lot of work to be done, but this is only a couple of years old. It's still baby steps, and it's only going to get better and better.
So there we have it, folks. That is amazing. This is a video from a Korean company that has produced this mechanized suit of armor, which they say can be used for industrial applications such as lifting heavy equipment and moving them. And this is definitely a precursor to a fighting robot. And as you can see, it looks very similar to the mechanized suit from the movie The Matrix and also the mechanized suit from the movie Avatar. Carlos Campbell, you saw this here. What do you think about this?
The first thing I was thinking was Avatar. I'm glad you brought that up. Since we segue from the Fauci topic to this, is what the robot is going to be used for. Is it going to be used for war, or is it going to be used to help the environment? So that's another red flag. It looks exciting and stuff because we grew up in this robot culture through anime and media and movies and stuff. So it looks really cool, but what is it going to be used for? That's the question. Is it going to use to help the 99% or 1% of people like we spoke before, or is it going to be used for something else? And I'm glad he brought up the whole his grandkids going to be like, why did you stop them? And that was pretty creepy that he said that. He probably knows something that we don't know. Now that I think of it, I think if and when robots gain a consciousness, they're going to analyze our whole history, not just media history, just through people's lives and different videos and blogs like we're posting up right now, different videos. They're going to get a full perspective of everything. It's just like a whole collective consciousness when you're speaking of robots. And they're going to figure out a way, because they have free will, well, they will have free will, they're going to figure out a way to either become neutral, which is the high probability, and then they could become negative, or they could become positive. So I think since humans and robots live on Earth, I think their first priority will be Earth, and anything that gets in their way will be destroyed. So we'll see what happens. So what's the priority?
So this is actually a piloted, mechanized robotic suit. But like you said, they could be AI, they could be without a man pilot inside of it, and it could be operating on its own volition. And then when I look at this, I think to myself, so this is a video put out on YouTube, released to the public, has over 3 million views on YouTube. This was released, I think it was in 2018 this video was published, so over 3 years ago. And this is something that is released to the public. This isn't some secret video. Who knows what they have in underground military facilities, in DUMBs, deep underground military bases? Who knows what kind of advanced robotic systems that they have?
I just thought of something when you said that. So the first thing he showed was it walking, and then it moving his hands, and then all of a sudden it's like punch. What's punch associated with? Fighting. So if I had a robot like that and I wanted to save the environment and Earth, I'll teach you how to plant trees. So let's say if artificial intelligence come up or whatever, the only thing they're gonna know is we're planting trees. He's made to plant trees, and then once he gets his free will, he's gonna be like, the last thing he's gonna think about is punching and violence. But if we continue to have these robots do war things or whatever, when they become conscious, they're gonna be like, okay, this is what I know, this is what I'm gonna do with what I know. So
because it has a natural fighting instinct. And then you've seen Star Wars, the movies. You've all seen Star Wars, folks. You've seen the AT-ATs and the other bipedal, large, tank-like robot walking vehicles. And there is something to be said for there could be a strategic advantage to having legs compared to having tracks. So Carlos, what do you think? This weaponized robot, if it had a gun potentially on its shoulder or if it had guns in its hands, what would win, this versus an Abrams tank?
I think that would. More mobility and
more versatile. And it can adapt to different types of environments, probably better with the legs compared to tracks.
And let's say if it was controlled by AI, it really would be unstoppable, because if it gets killed or shut down, you just bring another one, versus with humans, it takes a while and it's less expendable.
Exactly, and let's go ahead and move on to the next video, folks, that we have for you here tonight on the Austin Perry Show, episode 23. And here we have it, the Hand of God, the M61 20mm Vulcan rotary cannon.
My name is Robert Bagando, and I'm sitting on Battlefield Vegas, FV432 British APC. We've actually made it good by mounting a US-made 20mm Vulcan on it and another US-made mini Vulcan in 308 on it. This is one of the very few of the working 20mm Vulcans in civilian hands, and it is a sight to behold. This is the 20mm. This is electric firing. This particular gun is a really, really hot round.
Now, just to note, folks, this 20mm caliber round is much larger than a 50 BMG, which is about the largest rifle round that you can shoot. And you can shoot 20mm from a rifle, but it's going to put a hurt on your shoulder pretty bad. And so this is about a little less than twice as long as a 50 caliber bullet.
Jesus.
And let's continue. So this is basically not a rifle round, this is a cannon round. And this is a rotary cannon, and it's shooting thousands and thousands of rounds per minute.
We're firing 1,500 grain projectiles, upwards of about 3,300 feet per second. So it's a ripper downrange. Traditionally, when they first built the Vulcans, they put them on F-18s, F-16s, almost all of our fighting aircraft. The reason they had such a high cycle rate, they would only be on target for fractions of a second. So if you're only going to be on target for a tenth of a second, you have to be able to get at least 2 to 3 rounds on target. The only way of doing that is by obscene rates of fire.
6,000 rounds per minute, folks. There you have it.
I would guess the price of this Vulcan to be somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000. The issue becomes feeding it. It is a very difficult gun to feed, and because of those difficulties, it actually brings value down a little bit, but it is still really rare and just one of the meanest guns out there.
And there you have it, the 20 millimeter Vulcan rotary cannon. This is commonly known as a Gatling gun, but the Gatling gun was actually the very first one that was produced in like the 1800s, and then subsequent rotary cannons are actually just known colloquially as Gatling guns, but they're actually more technically known as rotary cannons. This so happens to be the 20 millimeter, fires the 20 millimeter shell, which is like this long, much larger, about twice as big as the 50 BMG, which is about the largest rifle caliber you can get, and 6,000 rounds per minute. I mean, imagine that thing attached to the shoulder of the robot that we just saw in the last video. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't even think of that till you added that. Wow. The first thing I think of is collateral damage. That's the most important thing I think of. That thing could like shred anything. I think it's take down a whole building.
Oh yeah, that's a tank buster.
So you add that with that, it's like, wow.
So that gun could be combined with the robot suit.
I'm glad they added that. It's a lot of trouble reloading it and stuff like that. So that's one thing that they don't need to fix. And you keep that in mind. So just step ahead. But yeah, that's wow. That's like a video game. It's like the Mechasol.
So there you have it, the M61 20 millimeter Vulcan rotary cannon. This has been installed in several fighter jets, including the F-16 and the F-15, and also on tracked assault vehicles. And I encourage everyone to research this and to look into it. This is one of the most advanced gun systems in the world. It's very important, and you will probably see this gun a lot into the future installed on various weapon systems. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to the very last video that I have to show to everyone tonight. And I want to get Carlos's take on this. And let's go here. And this is from Boston Dynamics YouTube channel. This is the Cheetah. And I want to tell everyone, this video was posted in 2012. That is 9 years ago. I repeat, 9 years ago this video was posted. So let's go ahead and watch this video now, folks. Oh, it's booking. It's a fast one. It's quick. Whoa there. Knights of Columbus. I think I'm probably going to have nightmares tonight. Carlos, this was a little bit creepy. What are your thoughts on this creepy robot running at insane speeds, faster than Usain Bolt?
It's 2021. They have it already perfected. I think they do. Well, I know they do. Wow, that was in 2012? I think a lot of people need to invest in EMP grenades. I'm just joking. That's interesting. As you see how it runs is replicating nature and animals that run like that and the dynamics of the running. So the question is again, what will they use it for? Will they use it to help the environment and save people, or will they use it to chase after people or chase after anything? I don't know. But what will they attach it to? Now that you got me thinking, like, what will they attach it to? They'll have like a scanner, something like a net. Will it be gas, poison, darts,
or rotary cannon?
Tasers, rotary cannon. Yeah. So with that, you see how it start breaking down and stuff. I think they probably have it where it could turn and move different angles, but the best defense against that is to just keep running zigzag. Well, not run zigzag, but like keep switching angles, tight angles.
Well, they could be our friends. We might be able to use them for search and rescue missions. And we might be able to use them for positive purposes as well if we don't let them take over humanity. We could potentially be in a symbiotic relationship with the robots. What do you think?
Okay, now that you mentioned that, I'm thinking positive. Okay, search parties. We attach 5 of those with scanners on them, or anything that could pick up biological matter or anything. You attach those, run them through the woods. They could find somebody or a suspect within seconds of saving lives. So I'm glad you brought that up, the duality of using positive.
So they could be used for military applications, or they could be used for civilian applications, such as a fireman going into hot buildings that are on fire, or potentially saving people from an avalanche who are buried in snow. So that was from Boston Dynamics. That was a video from 2012. And that concludes all of the videos that we have to show on tonight's episode 23. But I do have a few questions that I want to ask Carlos. Carlos, what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence? Has it developed to a point to where it could potentially take over humanity?
I think it's already developed to the point. It just hasn't been revealed yet. And I think of artificial intelligence, I think of it as consciousness or intelligence. I don't think it's artificial, because consciousness is everywhere and it's not limited to only biological matter. I think it's all about free will, because I'm a huge fan of Westworld. Have you watched that show?
Oh, great TV show.
So it's all about free will. It's all about what can it do, and well, it's infinite possibilities of what can it do, but will you influence it to do positive or negative things? So I think artificial intelligence is a double-edged sword. So we have to, since we are the creators, we have to lead by example. Because right now, if I was a robot and I scan human history, all I see is a whole bunch of ratchet people starting wars. So artificial intelligence, positive and negatives.
Pros and cons.
Yep.
I like that.
So I keep it neutral.
Okay, now, artificial intelligence, who knows how powerful it is over humanity, but I think what's even more powerful would be the aliens. And so, Carlos, if you could come in contact with the gray aliens, would you be their friend?
Yes.
Me too.
And I think they're in a learning process, since they're in their world or reality, they have been they got disconnected with nature. So I would lead by example. I'll show him how fun it is to live on Earth, even though it's a lot of negativity and stuff. I'll show him that I'm living my life and connecting with people, and what people need to realize is we need to keep the distance away from cell phones and different electronics, just in a balanced way. Don't just disconnect, because we have to be connected with cell phones and stuff in the world, but just have a day where you just leave the phone. You don't have to leave it in your car, just leave it in your bag or purse or whatever, and then just have fun, go to the beach and stuff like that. You don't have to film everything. And then just don't evolve your life only around electronics. Also balance it with nature. So I would show the grays that we found the balance. Well, I found the balance between nature and electronics. And with aliens, they are extraterrestrial. I mean, with grades they're extraterrestrial because they're humanoid-like. And remember, aliens are non-humanoid-like, so you could have robot aliens where it just be like a long tube with a red beam, and then you just see it, like, what is that? It could be from another planet.
Completely foreign to what we're used to, just totally not what we would be expecting at all. And so thank you so much for your analysis on that. I think we covered a lot of very thought-provoking, hard-hitting, hardcore topics tonight on the Austin Perry Show, episode 23. That concludes this episode. I want to thank you so much, Carlos Campbell, the resident alien expert, as I have so dubbed him, for coming on tonight. This is his third appearance. Carlos, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. And would you like to just shout out to the folks where they can come in contact with you and where they can find your website and your information?
All right, you can find me on Instagram, Mechfreza, MECHFRZA. Also on Facebook, Carlos Campbell. And on my t-shirt website, owlspiritshop.com. And you can connect with me on any social media. And on Twitch also with Mechfreza, MECHFRZA. And none of my information is private, so you could add me or see what I've got going on and stuff, and then just keep updated with me and keep in contact.
Awesome, awesome, thank you. And I want to encourage everyone that's watching right now, please visit the social media platforms Rumble and BitChute and Brighteon. That is where you can find all of my video content. Just search Austin Perry Show. And also please visit my website, which is austinperry.org. That's where you can find all of my merchandise. That's where you can find video content, and that's where you can find art for sale. And if you think that I'm doing a good job bringing you the news and current events and politics and culture information, please leave me a donation that will help to support my video content into the future. As you can see, we are upgrading the Austin Perry Show. We have the large screen here to show you videos. The production quality of the Austin Perry Show will only improve. It will only get better. I have plans on getting very many different guests onto the Austin Perry Show. So if you would like to support that, please leave me a donation via PayPal. And my email address for that is austin.perry@gmail.com, and that's spelled P-A-R-R-Y. And that's it for this episode 23, Thursday, April 29th, 2021 edition of the Austin Perry Show with my good distinguished guest, Carlos Campbell. And everyone, have a great night. We will see you tomorrow on episode 24. Love and peace, and goodbye.